In another fight over Twitter with the Washington Post.
Post put out a phony photo of an empty arena hours before I arrived. Real photos now shown as I spoke. Packed house.
Sanctuary states and cities. Innocent Americans are at the mercy of criminal aliens. They're no good.
Calling out the fake news, story after story after story. He is bold, he is brash, and he is getting things done. That's why he's the president.
President Trump, tough this week on illegal immigration.
Raging wildfires out west turning deadly.
We're facing a new reality in the state where fires threaten people's lives. This is kind of the new normal.
In Jackson, Mississippi, the president toured the state's brand new $100 million Civil Rights Museum.
This is a tribute to our nation at the highest level.
48-yarder on the way. No good. Army, for the second year, has won it.
A bushy, bushy blonde hair, surfing USA.
That is a picture of me surfing in the big screen.
You're looking pretty good, Chris.
Wow. Good morning, Pete.
Hard to get up there.
Ebony K. Williams, you are both going surfing. This is my response to winter and snow. I get one day of snow, and you know what? I'm like the president on Twitter. I immediately respond, and we are going. We have a surfing machine here.
It's true. I look back.
We
at
are
snow
going
me on
to
the
go
plaza
surfing,
in
and
New York.
on top of that,
And
just in
case
this may be different, I've got a little something for you to help you wear while you are surfing this, and that is Hawaiian shirts.
Oh, nice.
Come on out. Let's. They're coming. They're
I have a
coming.
little something for
it's
you,
like
though,
the wave.
while we wait.
Oh,
there was a
boy.
game
There's
yesterday.
that
Put it on,
gloating
Greg.
again we heard about.
It's not gloating.
Oh,
It's
my
just
gosh.
Hawaiian shirts.
So we got
I'll wear the
Army
Army
football
hat.
game, and I'll trade it for a Hawaiian shirt.
I will
Dave's
wear
tossing them out for
the
us.
Army hat.
This one's yours.
Here we go.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go.
Oh, no, I like this one.
There you go.
Oh.
Yep.
She got ladies' shoes.
It's, you can wear whatever shirt you want
it's
to go,
Christmas
but
season, but
all
we're
of a
going
sudden
surfing.
it just doesn't feel as cold as it is out there.
Okay, this is
So
beautiful.
we are going.
Toss that on.
We are going surfing.
We're going surfing. You're wearing an Army hat. Up is down, left is right. Nothing makes sense because it's
Bada
snowing.
bing,
We're
bada
surfing.
boom.
And
Right.
neither
Why
does
not?
the news. We've
Yeah,
got to get some
speaking of
news
things that
in
don't make
here.
sense.
Sunday on Fox and Friends. Wake up with us and enjoy the roller coaster ride.
Now, I mentioned the president tweeting in my response to the snow, but actually the president was tweeting, and it was over coming out of his rally. Another member of the media, in this case, Dave Weigel of the Washington Post, tweeting a photo. Let's put this photo up. The president had said that the rally was packed to the rafters, and so Weigel posted this picture. You can see the hall empty.
Now, this was supposedly the rally in Florida where the
yes, in
president
Pensacola,
spoke
Florida, on Friday night. And Weigel making a very sarcastic dig at President
So packed to the rafters. Again, we all watched it on Friday night. It was a packed house. You could see it on TV. But yet Dave Weigel tweets this saying, it was empty. Well, President Trump smacks back very quickly on Twitter yesterday saying, at Dave Weigel, at Washington Post, put out a phony photo of an empty arena hours before I arrived at the venue with thousands of people outside on their way in. Real photos now shown as I spoke. Packed house. Many people unable to get in. Demand apology and retraction from the fake news Washington Post. His tweet also included other photos that showed that, in fact, it was packed to the
Obviously,
rafters.
very much so a packed house. But an apology is exactly what the president got. Dave Weigel then tweeting out, sure thing, I apologize. I deleted the photo after Martosco told me I'd gotten it wrong, was confused by the image of you walking in the bottom right corner. So, to me, that's way too little too late because, first of all, common sense tells you no matter what you think about the president's policies or politics, the man can pack an arena, okay? It's certainly one in Florida or in that panhandle area. So it would just really be wishful thinking, actually, of Dave, to think that it's going to be an empty house for President Trump.
The key point of what you said is whether what you think about is politics and his policy. If only so-called journalists could report no matter his policies or his politics.
You're right.
Listen, individual bias has more than crept in and has become an agenda. Dave Weigel tweeted this with glee saying, look, we got it.
But he played himself. But he plays himself in the process.
And they continue to play themselves and expose themselves in the process, giving more fodder for the president to expose the agenda against him.
Weigel did apologize. I don't think he should be fired.
I'm sure
he
the
made a
apology
mistake, but
will
as
be
you
covered
say,
just as much as the initial report, which is always the problem. The initial official report sets the narrative. The apology gets buried on A13.
But let me take you to the question of why is the president punching down? Why does the president even bother to acknowledge this attempt by Weigel to essentially grab low-hanging fruit?
Because the president's the president, so he's always punching down because he's the most powerful man on earth. So any punch is a down punch. But the reality is he's creating a narrative. He's exposing what no one else can expose. This is the guy who makes the news and is in the news. How many of us make the news and are in the news? You know, we're either one or the other, per se. He's both. So he can say, this is what actually happened. This is what they report. Here's the fake news. He's in such a unique position to critique this. It's a part of where he is.
Question for both of you. Is this going to go anywhere? We're 1 year into this presidency, right? Let's just presume it plays out for the next 3. Is there going to be, what do you call it, a compromise? Because is this going to be a never-ending battle between the President of the United States and the White House and the American media?
I mean, look, here, I've said this a couple times this morning, and that is the Russia probe story is one of, if not the largest stories going on. Now we have a case of several recent mistakes from CNN on WikiLeaks, from ABC on the Mike Flynn testimony and some other things. And so while they are getting major facts wrong on the biggest story, then you at least set the table for that, whether there's a truth or not, there's going to be a reckoning, I think.
And you've called it the biggest story, understandably so. But as I've said, too, the biggest story is the biggest story because the so-called mainstream media wants it to be the biggest story.
But Pete,
when they could cover so much else.
Would you say the president, though, also, if he doesn't make it, he feeds it being a very big story because he tweets about Russia as well?
Of course,
right?
Because he's a counterpuncher who wants to fight back no matter what, feels like he's innocent, uses his Twitter feed to push back against it. We want to know what you think. What do you think on both sides of this issue? Friends at FoxNews.com. Will the opposition party, Steve Bannon calls them literally the opposition party, lock, stock, and barrel with the Democrats. Do you believe that's true? Is the media the opposition party, or are they fairly reporting?
I'm glad you mentioned Bannon because I've wanted to get to this, and that is Bannon's about to go back down to Alabama. President obviously at that rally to support Roy Moore. That's what it was really about. Because you're
without
in
having to go to
Alabama,
Alabama, without having to go to Alabama.
And now Hollywood weighing in. Hollywood weighing in on the Roy Moore, coming to Doug Jones, Moore's opponent's defense. We saw this movie before in Georgia when Samuel L. Jackson went down for the Democrat. Didn't work out. And now we've got tweets coming in from Hollywood folks. We've got Mark Ruffalo tweeting, quote, "Come on, Alabama. You've got good in you. Do the right thing."
So Mark Ruffalo makes a great rom-com, but I don't know about his political analysis.
Okay. Also, Patton Oswalt saying, for the sake of your kids' education, because it's for the kids, right? Please vote at Douglas Jones. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just like my thing. Again, I'm obviously not a Roy Moore supporter, but that whole, do it for the kids feels a little cheeky. It's a little overdone.
Wouldn't both sides do it for the kids?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do everything for the kids,
This is a headline from Politico. Why Democrats win even if they lose in Alabama. So according to Politico, even when the Democrats lose, they win.
That's convenient. That's very convenient, right, to frame it that way on the front end. Knowing, I mean, by all, I think estimates, I think Roy Moore is definitely going to pull this out. So.
The polls indicate that he will. The momentum is in his direction. Trump carried the state substantially. A lot of controversy early on. Ultimately, Republicans have coalesced.
Well, what's fascinating is I don't think Hollywood has a full grasp of how much they're actually helping Roy Moore by getting involved because turning off the Alabama voters, as was the case. In fact, in Georgia, they said, this young guy, John Ossoff, wins even if he loses because he came so close. But you know what? Horseshoes and hand grenades is where close only counts. And in politics,
does not count.
That's right. Email us at friends@foxnews.com. Is there ever been a celebrity that you've heard from that changed your vote? Have you ever been like, I saw an internet video from a person that plays another person on TV as an actor, and I thought, you know what? I really want their ideology in my brain.
I can't wait to read those
Let us know. Friends@foxnews.com.
Speaking of celebrities in Hollywood, Chelsea Handler, she went on this viral rampage against Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Take a look at this.
Hey y'all, it's me, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. My face is a big fat biscuit. This is foundation. And just like the foundation of America, it's Republican, it's strong, and it's white. I used to not know what foundation was, but our great president was kind enough to take me to a Sephora, and he said to the employee, hey, you see that fella right here? Make him a woman. Now, blush is very accessible. You can get this at a drugstore, right next to the gun store where you can pick up your guns because it is your American right. I know what you guys were thinking. She's only 35. I get it. I got my dad's old face.
So this is a video that aired on Chelsea Handler's show, which appears on Netflix. I've never seen it, didn't know about it, but apparently it's out there.
Yeah, that goes out there. And, you know, I thought that part, that kind of, listen, you can make fun of Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Chelsea Handler's a comedian. She's a public figure. Totally okay with that. But the digging of her looks, the clearly attacking this woman's aesthetic in this way, I thought was disgusting. But more importantly is the reaction of Sarah Huckabee's father, Governor Mike Huckabee.
Well, I got to ask you, in this time of this Me Too movement, is it not hypocritical? You know, you want to support women and you know, what they're going through. Is this not hypocritical to do something?
Totally.
Like
you can't cherry pick. You can't say I'm for women on the issue of sexual harassment, but I'm going to annihilate you around what you look like doing your job because I don't like what you do.
We had Governor Huckabee on, Sarah's father here. Here's what he had to say a little bit earlier.
Well, as a father, you never like to see this kind of stuff on your kids. But, you know, my daughter's an adult. She's lived in the political arena her whole life. She understands it. She gets it. She doesn't particularly like it. But it doesn't get to her like I'm sure Chelsea Handler wishes it did. I feel sorry for Chelsea Handler. People who are bitter and angry and lash out at others and have no sense of personal balance and joy. It's unfortunate, and that's why I say, with all sincerity, I feel sorry for her. I don't envy her, and I guarantee you my daughter doesn't.
That was Governor Huckabee's take. We asked you for your take on this, and your emails have been pouring in, including an email from Janet, and she wrote this: how on earth can the Dems be the party of women when they ridicule a woman for her appearance? Hashtag hypocrisy.
We also had this tweet from Ariella, who said, you cannot claim to champion women's rights and simultaneously mock a successful woman's look simply because you disagree politically. And I think she's absolutely right. That's the point. If we're going to kind of have this moment as women, as you point out, Pete and Griff, we have to be consistent on the message of empowerment across the aisle and across belief systems.
Also, how about the double standard? You look at a Sarah Huckabee Sanders or a Kellyanne Conway, who was the first female to run a winning presidential campaign.
Which
you've got Melania Trump.
Credit.
Would they not all be on the cover of Vogue if this was a Democratic administration? Or, you know, any sort of liberal magazine? I mean, the celebration you get for Democrats vis-a-vis Republicans, who are then demonized for their political views as opposed to held up for the fact that they're successful women.
Well, I think that's true, and I think that's something that we really need to work on again as women. I'm going to own that and say, you know what? You don't have to, just because you're right, there are more, you know, kind of left-leaning, liberal, idealized people in media. Why in the world are we ostracizing women that are successful in the conservative movement? That is something we should be embracing, rallying behind, and owning as a part of our collective success.
Well said.
And speaking of women, coming up, skier Lindsey Vonn says she isn't representing the President of the United States when she competes at the Winter Olympics. This morning, the White House is responding.
And remember when Nancy Pelosi said this about Republican tax plan?
The debate on health care is life-death. This is Armageddon.
We're all going to die. Do the voters agree? We've got the brand new dials coming up with Lee Carter next.
It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine.
Nobody is closer to the pulse of the American people than our next guest.
Lee Carter is a pollster and partner with Maslansky and Partners, and she just put this week's biggest moments to the dial test. Lee, thank you.
Thanks
Welcome.
for being with us,
Great
Lee.
to be here.
Oh, my God. So we got three big topics we're going to get into, so we'll go straight to them. So first up, President Trump says that we will never surrender our rights to international tribunals. What was kind of the reaction across the spectrum?
I think you're going to see a different reaction we've seen recently. Recently, we've been seeing a lot of the independents going with the Republicans. Watch this.
Okay, let's watch it.
We don't sing a global anthem. Our troops don't wear a foreign uniform, and we will never surrender our rights to international tribunals.
A+ there from the GOP.
You can
Lee.
see the Republicans really love Donald Trump in campaign mode. A+ there. Independents just a C+, and Democrats a D. Now, what I heard from independents is they're just a little bit softening right now to the president. They want him to focus back onto tax reform, more on the issues that matter, and stop with the distractions from the last few weeks, which have been pretty tough for him.
Well, speaking of taxes, Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, she had this to say. Take a look.
The debate on health care is life, death. This is Armageddon. This is a very big deal because you know why? There's really a very hard way to come back from this.
Okay, strong words there from Nancy Pelosi.
And also, Lee, it looked like the independents tracked with the Republicans on that one.
They did, absolutely. Yes. So you can see there, Republicans gave this an F. Independents just gave it a C. Well, Democrats this does resonate. Now, this is good news for the president because as much as he's had a tough week, she's having a tougher week. Yes. And you can see that people just aren't buying into this notion that this is Armageddon. It's too dramatic, and it's not necessarily resonating.
Yeah, even Dems didn't give her an A on something like that. I noticed that. All right, also Jerusalem, a very big and worthy topic of discussion this week. Let's take a listen.
We finally acknowledge the obvious, that Jerusalem is Israel's capital. I am also directing the State Department to begin preparation to move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. While previous presidents have made this a major campaign promise, they failed to deliver. Today, I am delivering.
Boy, Lee, you really see the Republicans and Democrats far apart on that one.
You sure do. You can see Republicans gave this an A, Independents a C, and Democrats gave it a D. Now, overall, what we heard from Independents and Democrats is they're very concerned about this move. They want to know what's this going to mean for the stability of the region, and also is this going to mean an increase in terrorism? And they did promise 3 days of rage, and so what's going to happen here? So people are concerned, even though a lot of people said, I get that we had made this promise a long time ago. Let's see how this plays out.
Because this isn't new. Many presidents before President Trump have said the same, but I think the timing seems to be an issue for people.
That's right. People are nervous.
Thank you so much, Lee.
Great.
This was great.
Lee Carter, it's very helpful to find out what people are doing on the dial.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
All right, Al Gore's new climate change documentary is full of debunked science. So why did it inconveniently just get nominated for a major award?
And we know that nobody gives more than the military members and their families. This morning, Fox and Friends, well, we're going to give back to this particular military family in a huge way. The reveal?
Shootings on Detroit freeways. This, as police confirm, they're looking for one shooter. Authorities on the hunt for a silver or gray sedan reportedly seen at 2 of the incidents. And as South Carolina serial killer says there are more victims yet to be discovered, the Herald Journal of Spartanburg reports Todd Culphep, not sure if I butchered that, claims he informed the FBI but says they blew it off. The 46-year-old was sentenced to life after pleading guilty to 7 murders in May. Culphep was arrested when police found Kyle Brown chained like a dog inside a shipping container. Pete?
Thanks, Riff. Well, we honor our military heroes year-round, especially on this program. But one organization is making it their mission to show their gratitude to service members and their loved ones during the Christmas season. Joining us now is Marcus Pitt with Christmas Decor by Looks Great Services, along with U.S. Army Major Chris, how do I pronounce that? Tramontana, Chris's wife, lovely wife, Rachel, and their kids, Jamil, Sona, and Yuna. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Pete.
So, Chris, you're still serving. You're a major in the United States Army. By the way, congratulations to us for yesterday's football game.
Absolutely, finally.
But you're still serving. You've served a couple of tours. Tell us what your life is like these days.
Right now, I'm actually work for the Defense Coordinating Element. We partner with FEMA, and we respond to natural and man-made disasters. Just recently got back from the Virgin Islands, where we weathered both Hurricane Irma and Maria on St. Croix. It's amazing what everybody, not just the military and the government, as in federal, but what everybody in the Virgin Islands has done to really recover.
You've deployed a bunch. Your life could change at a moment's notice, which means, Rachel, yours changes at a moment's notice, too.
Yes.
What's it like these days to be a military spouse?
To me, it's very hard because I have to adjust myself every time my husband is not around. And yeah, kind of difficult when we move. Every time we move, once we settle, we will move again. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Jamil, let me ask you real quick. You're moving all the time. Your dad's gone. Your mom's. What's it like for you?
For me, I'm just actually it's fine for me as long as, we are so happy together as a family. And yeah.
Absolutely. Sona or Yuna, any emotions that come to play if your father's not here, say, during Christmas?
Sad. Because since my birthday is Christmas Eve, and that means if he's not here for Christmas, that means he'll miss my birthday. So I tend not to think about it. But
wow. As well.
Yeah, it's really sad because we can have a family time if dad's not around, and it's just like stress.
I get chills just hearing that. I think our viewers probably feel the same way. Marcus, you're with Looks Great Services.
Yes.
Tell me where you guys step in to try to make sure Christmas and the holidays are what it should be for these
So I'm
families like
Looks
this.
Great Services, but I'm an installer for Christmas Decor. Christmas Decor is a franchise. Where we step in is we basically install magic for people for the holidays. There's nobody that doesn't like to look at Christmas lights or their eyes don't light up when they see trees or wreaths or their home fully decorated. That's where we step in.
So that's where you step in. You might be here to step in a little bit more. Do you have anything to share, possibly?
So we have Decorated Family Program, which is where Christmas Decor decorates servicemen and military families' homes for them, because we know it's tough for them. They have a hard time making time to go out and decorate their home. They might not even be around. So every year we donate and we fully deck the halls on somebody's house, and that's why I'm here.
So we've got an amazing family here. I think these two might be in on it a little bit, but the kids don't know about the fact that you've done a little bit of something for them this Christmas season.
I put my own little twist on it, and I fully decorated your home, which I guess is like a birthday present to you as well. But
so there we've got some images. Is this their home right here?
Yes, this is.
So when did you do this, and what have you done?
So we drove through the snow yesterday and decorated their home last night.
Yeah. Where's your home, by the way?
It's actually Fort Hamilton, right in Brooklyn.
Right in Brooklyn.
Yep.
Nice. And so, what is the totality of what you invaded their home with the Christmas spirit, and what all did you do?
So Christmas Decor really helped me out. They hooked me up with some red, white, and blue, very servicemen and servicewomen themed Christmas decorations. So we showed up there, kind of designed it on the spot, planned it, set it up.
So that's your house. It didn't look like that when you left, did it?
No, it did not. That's actually the first time I'm seeing it at night, too, because the weather was so bad I had to leave before. So I didn't even see that picture until just now. That's
Major,
cool.
what does that mean to you? I mean, you spend so much time abroad, you're serving our country, you see folks back here willing to recognize that service and honor it.
It's huge because, and as you know, Pete, we don't do it for ourselves. We do it for all the other people, the people that don't have to, the people that don't want to, the people that hate us. But we do it because it's important to us, and we really love what the country stands for. And when you see somebody that gives some time out of their schedules to take care of a military family, it's huge.
Mm-hmm. Rachel, what's it going to mean to you to walk into your home knowing someone appreciates you that much?
Well, it really feels good to me because, well, I don't know anything about military, but I slowly learned a lot from my friends and, of course, my husband. And it's kind of difficult to me, but you know what? I can do it.
That's an amazing spirit. I don't know much about the military either, but I know in an Army family, for someone to be wearing an Air Force shirt is aggressive. What do we got here?
None of them are going in the Army. They're all going into every other service, not the Army.
Once you know the secret, you say, hey, check something else out, too. All of you, thank you for your service, for yours, and for what you do to allow your father and your family to serve this great country. We appreciate it. Enjoy your home.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for sneaking in the middle of the night and making Christmas.
Sickness in some of our institutions, and we're working very hard. We've got a lot of them straightened out.
That was President Trump on Friday in Pensacola. And right now we're going to bring in Jason Chaffetz, Fox News contributor, former Utah GOP congressman, and former chairman of the Oversight and Government Committee in the House. Congressman, thanks for joining us this morning. So that's the president this week litigating publicly and straight to the American people his feeling about a rigged system. This week on Capitol Hill, Deputy AG Rod Rosenstein is going to testify about the Russia investigation before that House Judiciary Committee. But given what we've learned about Mueller's team ties, is there a fair investigation actually going on, and what could we learn from this testimony?
Well, he is the one in charge. I used to actually be on that committee, and I think you're going to see from Jim Jordan and Trey Gowdy and John Radcliffe and a host of other people some very direct questions, not only about what Mueller and his team are doing, but maybe what they're not doing. Are they looking at the Uranium One deal? Are they going to potentially introduce a special counsel? Because he's the one that appointed Mueller. Is he going to appoint somebody else to also maybe go into look at the other things that Hillary Clinton was doing. And I'm telling you, if the answer isn't an affirmative one, I think you're going to see a lot of members in the House really get upset and really question whether or not this Department of Justice has a blindfold on it, much the way it's supposed to. That Lady Justice, does she have a blindfold on?
So Congressman, here's the real question, and that is, will Rosenstein actually answer the questions? The scrutiny on the impartiality is undeniable on this team. You have sat in those hearings time and time again when the witness simply gives you a word salad, double Washington speak, and gets out of it. Is Rosenstein going to add to the erosion of confidence of the American people in their institutions, or is he going to just babble?
Well, if Bob Goodlatte is the chairman of the committee, he can continue to direct the witness in order to answer the questions. This is the committee of prime jurisdiction. They all have security clearances. There's no reason why you can't do that. Nobody wants to impede an ongoing investigation, but at the same time, there are a lot of direct questions that can be asked, and I'm sure, again, that those members will ask those questions. And the other thing that they're also going to press them on is turning over the documents to the House Intelligence Committee. In a public forum like this, are they going to cooperate and provide witnesses? Are they going to provide the documents? Because right now the deep state over in the Department of Justice is giving Congress a big old stiff arm, and you have Devin Nunes and Trey Gowdy and others saying, I can't do this investigation and oversee the Department of Justice as the check and balance unless you actually provide the documents. Thus far, they haven't been doing it.
Congressman, let me ask you this on a different kind of issue. It seems that for some people, what they want for Christmas is this government shutdown. Certain rank-and-file Democrats, of course, are really kind of forcing a movement to shut down the government going into the holiday season, really over this issue of DACA, of course, and the Dreamers. President Trump saying, of course, America does not need a government shutdown. But you, Congressman, have been a part of the Republican Party when they were responsible for government shutdown, or certainly perceived that way. So you know the political cost of being associated with that shutdown type of thing. What do you think the costs are for the Dems here?
I totally disagree. Totally. We'll have another conversation that we participated in any sort of government shutdown, but that's another topic. Right. Look, I was elected the same time as Barack Obama.
That perception was out there from some people.
It doesn't mean it was true.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean it was true. It was false.
I'm conceding that. But I'm saying the political price tag that many in the GOP felt that cost was substantial.
Yeah, I don't believe in my district. I won by record numbers. So, but nevertheless, look, the Democrats, again, I was on the House Judiciary Committee. I was on the Immigration Subcommittee. When the Democrats had the House, the Senate, and the presidency, they didn't even hold a hearing on this. And literally in 2 years, they dealt nothing with immigration. The only person they brought before the committee was Stephen Colbert. Honest to goodness, that is the way it went down. And so for them now to say, oh, this is the most important, and it says a lot about the Democrats. They're willing to shut down the government because they're going to protect people that aren't even Americans.
Well, that's the
question. But do you think that they really are? I don't think that they are.
Listen, they certainly are. So does it not portray priorities?
Oh, they absolutely are not. They will absolutely not shut down the government for that.
No, our priority is illegals who were brought here of their not of their accord. We understand that. But our priorities, do we shut it down or not over illegals vis-a-vis, doesn't it support the bifurcation of the narrative the president has that you've got the forgotten men and women, the citizens of America versus Democrats who are advocating for illegals?
And I understand that, Pete, but I'm saying to the congressman, I really was talking about the shutdown issue exclusively, right? And the truth is, and I think everybody knows it on this panel and you, Congressman, that the Dems are certainly not going to shut down the government over this issue because the political consequences are too high.
I got to believe that. Look, the president has said that he's going to deal with this in a compassionate way. He is waiting for Congress to take some definitive action. There are some on the Republican side of the party that also want to inject this into the funding bill that has to happen by the 22nd. I see no pathway for them to actually deal with this immigration DACA issue in the funding bill going on to the 22nd. But I think in the first quarter, the president really does want to see a congressional solution to this. I do think that Congress has has to do two things with the funding bill. One, deal with the sanctuary cities. They lost a lawsuit, and if the president and his team insist, I think they can get language in there to fix that. And the second thing that they have to do is fund the wall. It's core to what the president campaigned on. It's a modest amount of money in a $4 trillion budget. The president and the Republicans should build the wall. When they do that, they can also later deal with these other issues.
Well, Congressman Chaffetz, thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
All right, President Trump is busy working on his agenda, including tax reform and immigration. But the New York Times doesn't want to talk about that. They'd rather focus on what he watches on TV.
And conservative students are standing up to their classmates for protesting the flag. What happened? Well, they were actually punished for it. Those students are now suing the district, and one of them joins us on the couch.